We are live and back with another episode of your wildest fantasy football show, a live start sit for championship weekend, either the first weekend of championship weekend for some who do 2-week playoffs for 17 and 18, or for those doing 1-week playoffs. This is your championship game. This is make or break time, and we are here to help you with any start sit questions you have, any dynasty questions you may have going into next year if you've already moved on, any other questions that you may have, fantasy football or not, for us to answer. Submit your fantasy questions or regular questions to the chat, and we will get to those within the next hour, 11:30 to 12:30 today in week 17. Tody, how are we feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Got my 8 hours of rest, give or take like 5. So really, good to go for the day. How was your New Year's? How was your New Year's, Kondo? I didn't
My
see
New
you.
Year's was pretty inactive.
Same. I think I was asleep by 9 o'clock. So
I probably was around there.
yeah,
Many of you who watch the show regularly know we normally do a show on Tuesdays.
that's true.
That did not happen. I had an inability to do the show. Told Tody. Tody decided not to take the reins and try to power through and do it himself. That's up to him.
I did not. I was sitting there. I said I could do this by myself, and then I sat there again. And I said, or maybe I won't do it by myself because Kondo is the brains, and I'm, just here. Yeah, well, I'm here to lift heavy things, which doesn't help Kondo when we're not in the same set, but it helps me move heavy things. So it was tough, and just didn't feel right to do it without Kondo. This is his baby. It never feels right to change another man's baby's diaper. So
I would not like to compare this show to changing diapers. I think that might be
I was just doing something intimate from one thing to another. Yeah, no. It is the start sit show, not the start shit show.
Yeah, as we've covered. We've talked about that extensively before.
Yeah. I do like the headphones. They're pretty nice.
Thank you. Well, a little behind the scenes here. Because we're remote, it reduces the chances of there being any feedback or echo over the mic where you can hear me back through your side.
Right.
Or hear you back through my side in this case. So that's why the headphones have been a new addition to the sets. As for fantasy football, we have plenty to talk about as well. I don't know if I talked about why I couldn't do Tuesday's show.
You said you were sick.
Okay, yeah, I was sick. I literally couldn't talk until Friday. So that is why I couldn't do that. But as for today, we do have some things that are important to talk about. A couple quarterback things to start it off. Lamar Jackson officially inactive today. Tyler Huntley expected to start against the Rams. I think because we've seen Huntley have some positive performances, we have a little bit more hope than we had last week for the Ravens offense, even though the Ravens offense kind of chugged along okay last week. I mean, you still got your Mark Andrews day and stuff like that. But I think with Tyler Huntley there, there's still at least a potential for upside games from Mark Andrews again and Marquis Brown. If he plays, Marquis Brown has not practiced all week with an illness. That is still something that we are going to see very soon, whether he is going to play or not.
Right. I think Tyler Huntley is going to be fine. If you look at it, he played week 6, got 1 point. Week 7, 1.5. Played week 11, got 10.7. Played week 14, got 15 points. Played week 15, he got you 35.9. He gets better every single week. I don't think he's going to drop a 36-point game against the Rams. He could. Rams are a really high-powered offense. Obviously going to have to throw a lot, so he's going to get a lot of time to shine. But I don't think he's going to drop 36 points. But I still think he's in for a good game. he got you 15 points week 14 against Cleveland while also fumbling the ball twice. So I have high hopes for him. I think he's going to be fine. Rams have a pretty good defense, but he's a mobile quarterback in the NFL who has a magnificent weapon to throw to. Two of them, really, if you count Mark Andrews. So he's going to be in for a good day.
Which you should. You should count Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. It's just, I don't have any shares of Mark Andrews. So, a little bit of nepotism here. Just nothing against Mark Andrews. Sure he's great. Sure he can catch a lot of balls out there. I just championship weekend. I don't have any shares of Mark Andrews, so mitigating his successfulness.
Mark Andrews has probably been one of the fantasy playoffs MVPs, I would say, so far, especially considering we've gotten a dud week from Kelsey, or not from Kelsey, Kittle, excuse me. And then Kelsey, obviously, with the COVID situation, didn't play last week. So Mark Andrews, going into the year, I was a little bit down on. I wouldn't say down on. He was still a top 5 tight end for me, but I had like Hawkinson ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think I'll make that mistake next year. I think a lot of people will hold Mark Andrews in a very different regard going into next season.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, he has definitely been playoff season MVP. 28.5, 35.6, and 26.5 for the playoff stretch here. I mean, absolute beast out here for you.
Agreed. Another quarterback with some news. Carson Wentz, COVID, new protocols. He is active today, expected to start versus Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I think this does have an impact because you probably weren't even going to consider starting Michael Pittman beforehand. And now it puts him, I would say, at least back in the conversation of playing. He had a good week last week. He had a dud the week before.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but the conversation about Pittman being a number 1 receiver, I mean, we look at his last, what would it be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. 2 out of the 5 have been in double digits. That scares you, obviously. You can't afford to have a dud at this point. So I don't think Pittman's going to be my top guy that I'm playing, but there's a conversation in which you're starting Michael Pittman, which you wouldn't have had if Carson Wentz wasn't playing.
Yeah, Michael Pittman, it's been tough for him. I mean, it's playoff time. This is like literally could be the championship weekend for almost all the leagues out here. Raiders are a top 5 defense in terms of allowing the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. The conversation isn't. It's much better with Carson there than it wasn't. I just don't. I'm not starting Pittman confidently, but the conversation's there. One league I'm in, I have Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Brandon Cooks, and Justin Jefferson all in my lineup. Or not all in my lineup, all on my team. So that's the problems you want to have at the playoff time, figuring out who to start. Michael Pittman as your second guy is a little bit more of a struggle.
I do have some names on here that I want to throw at you. Fantasy Pros currently has Michael Pittman as wide receiver 19 on the week, sandwiched right between Amari Cooper at 18 and DK Metcalf at 20. I think those should probably be flipped, if you ask me. But I would definitely start him over Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper playing Arizona is the only reason I'm like considering it. But DK, you have to start DK over both these guys for sure.
Agreed.
Amari, it makes it interesting. I might go Amari just because Arizona has such a high-powered offense. I mean, Kyler's healthy. You have 3 wide receivers who can all run, catch, jump really fast and far and awesome. You have Zach Ertz. You have 2 running backs back there. So, I mean, you have a lot of weapons out there. It could be a high-scoring game. But Pittman is the number 1 on this team besides Jonathan Taylor. So it makes it tough for those two. I might go Cooper just for the upside. I think the matchup is easier. I mean, Arizona's a lot less scary on defense than the Raiders. And the fact that
some of the Raiders stuff. The Raiders had a COVID outbreak on defense. I know that they had a lot of guys that were questionable going into the week, including corner Casey Hayward. So that's something that I would like to know going in, and I'm gonna actually look up right now. But another thing that you said during that intrigues me, or I think it's just something for people to think about or that they might be worried about, and that's the Arizona offense. Arizona offense, you said, like, healthy, explosive. We've seen them in recent appearances really not look like they looked in the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a stat that I don't remember, but it was something along the lines of Cliff Kingsbury in his career to start the season has been really awesome.
Right.
And to end the season has been awful, no matter where he goes. So I don't want to say that the Cardinals are going to be awful now, but just statistically speaking, it seems like wherever he goes, that's what happens.
Yeah. I mean, the last 3 weeks they played the Rams, really high-powered offense. Detroit, who we both said best coach on the worst team. And then they played Indy, which just has a fantastic talent at running back who carries the load for them. So, I mean, they've played some decent teams as of late. They lost DeAndre Hopkins. Kyler Murray was banged up for a lot of it. Chase Edmonds and James Conner has just kind of been switching. So, I mean, like, I got faith in them. I think Arizona's going to be fine. But, I mean, yeah, some coaches start off real strong and some coaches finish strong. And then there's Bill Belichick, 365, 289. Maybe that's all we need.
289?
I don't know what that means.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the offensive struggles are really the thing that worries me in those games where obviously they put up 40 points on the Rams to start the season, had a bit of a stumble. I don't think their offense played all that terrible in that game. And then more of last week with the offense just looking lost against a Colts team that had 8 starters out is a little bit concerning. Can they turn it around? Am I like worried that they're going to be like done or that they're going to be awful for the rest of the season? No.
Not.
But just something that's gives me a bit of a hesitation if I'm going to look at players from that team. If I'm not looking at any of the receivers, which I may have felt okay about in the past. I'm not sure that I'm feeling okay with any of those guys now.
I feel okay with Christian Kirk. I feel decent about AJ Green. But again, you have to be pretty deep down to be starting them in like a playoff or for a championship team this week.
Are you starting either of the running backs?
I mean, I believe it's just Chase Edmonds that's fully healthy. James Conner has
he's questionable, but there's optimism that he's going to play.
Yeah, it's a heel and it's game time decision for them. I feel more confident in Chase Edmonds just because, I mean, your lineman accidentally, clips the back of your cleat, and James Conner's going down. So, I mean, I feel confident with starting Chase Edmonds, Zach Ertz, obviously Kyler Murray, because Kyler can just do it on the ground without anyone to throw to, and Christian Kirk. Those are the four guys I feel confident in starting, really no matter of your playoff situation.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in, I guess thinking about it from a championship lens, I would say Ertz and Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not feeling confident with Chase Edmonds if I have other options. Now, do you have other options that are better than Chase Edmonds is going to be tough. If James Conner plays, I suppose that is. If James Conner doesn't play, then I'm definitely fine with Chase Edmonds out there. But we kind of saw when Edmonds and Conner were there, Edmonds had one touchdown in 9 games. So that touchdown or just opportunity gets taken away completely when James Conner is in there. Right. So I get worried about that with Chase Edmonds, and that's probably why in championship conversations, I would lean more towards Ertz and Kyler as the two guys that I'm comfy with.
Right. I mean, James Conner has 14 touchdowns on the year. I mean, he just was the touchdown machine for him back there.
Favorite show with One Very Handsome Man and I.
And Ryan Kondo. I think Noah Shawnee just had to bump up the power. He's the new #1 fan.
I didn't know we were going full name.
Well, I mean, it's who it is. I mean,
it's very formal. No, he also went full name. It's very
he went
formal.
Full name, so. Formal is as formal does.
Yes, we do.
Said John Wayne.
Again, everybody, one person right now, but anybody who comes in the stream at all, make sure to submit your fantasy questions to the chat. We're here to help you guys not preferably just ramble on about whatever we want to talk about. What do you want to talk about, Toady? I don't ask you that question enough. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's out.
I did not know that. That's actually really sad.
At Cincinnati, Daryl Williams is expected to start. I think a lot of people are boosting up Daryl Williams a lot, as we probably boosted CH up maybe more than we should have because it's the Kansas City offense.
True.
What are your expectations for Daryl Williams today?
15 points. He's not a guy who really goes out there and he's not going to get you 30 points. He has the potential to get you 20, 23, 29. But he's a low teen sort of guy. They haven't played Cincinnati yet. Cincinnati, fantastic young offense, a lot of young studs out there. They have Joe Mixon. So I think that they might just be like, hey, let's see whose running back's better, our backup or your starter. And maybe just ego it just to give Daryl Williams like a give me touchdown and 90 yards. So medium hopes for him, not a guy I'm expecting to win me my league quite literally, since this is the last game for some people. But I think he could be a decent starter just because it is Kansas City's offense here.
Yeah, I'm hoping that ego could play into it, as you mentioned. That's the thing a lot of us overlook, especially when you get into all the numbers and you think about what does this team do well, what does this team not do well. We overlook the fact that maybe they just want to show that their running back is better than the other team's running back.
Exactly. I mean, coaches are human.
Yeah. We're talking about humans here, not robots. Yeah.
Exactly. That'd be crazy.
I think that Daryl Williams, maybe not because of that, but because of the pass catching prowess that he's shown, even in games where he hasn't started. He's had games where he's had 3 for 60, 3 for 31. There's games where he's catching the ball, and I think that that's going to continue, maybe even at a higher clip. We saw him start one game where he had 9 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. Not saying that that's the norm, but we've seen him be a backup in a lot of games and catch 3 passes. We've seen him as a starter in a lot of games, still catch passes. I think that he's going to have a solid day, solid floor day as the Kansas City running back, and get a lot of opportunities and get opportunities near the goal line. I think he's still going to share a bit with Derek Gore, but he's going to be the lead back in Kansas City, and that's really all you can ask for. If you were playing CEH or if you have Daryl Williams and you didn't have CEH, I'd consider it almost similarly and maybe even better than the mindset of if I had a healthy CEH, would I play him? Then you're definitely playing Daryl Williams, and it might even be an upgrade with Daryl Williams if you think that he gets more opportunities at the goal line.
Right. I'm with you. I do have a question, Kondo.
Okay.
Because some people, big Duke Johnson believers. Some people, big Myles Gaskin believers. Some people, well, let me rephrase it. Like 3 people, moderately sized Philip Lindsay believers. Who do we trust in Miami this week against Tennessee? Number 1, runs defense in terms of the least amount of fantasy points to running back. Who do we trust, if anyone, this week?
I think it was Rock. Maybe it was The Rock or Abe Lincoln. One of the 2. Said 3 keywords. And they might have been talking about Myles Gaskin, Philip Lindsay, and Duke Johnson when they said it. Trust no one. I am not going to trust anyone in Miami. That's kind of where my head's been at all year. They've been looking for a running back to just carry the load for a while, shoulder the load and be sustainable, because I think that is what that offense is missing, is a running game to support Tua. I mean, all the guys have been okay, but nobody's really, besides Duke Johnson, had that one huge game. And nobody's been able to do that and sustain that. So I am probably not trusting anyone in that backfield if I can help it. Now, if you're in a position, not so much for the title, but for
hopefully not the title if you have Myles Gaskin.
But for the back of the line, that decision might have to come into play.
I mean, it's Tennessee, the best team in terms of stopping running backs this year. Last week, we saw Myles Gaskin get 3 rushing attempts and 3 receiving attempts. We saw Duke Johnson run the ball 13 times. We saw Philip Lindsay run the ball 13 times. So I don't know if I can trust anyone, which hurts me because I was a big Myles Gaskin guy. And I always love me some Duke Johnson. Just a name, Duke. Love it. But Philip came in here, ruined everything, like all Phillips do. So I don't think I can trust anyone. Championship weekend here. Games on the line. My heart is torn in 3 right now.
Are we an anti-Philip show? I didn't know that.
No, we're not an anti-Philip show. It's just, if your name's Philip, then fix yourself. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to say. I mean, if someone's shoelace is untied, Kondo, do you just let them walk around with their shoelace untied, or do you say, hey, fix yourself?
Depends.
I mean, I think you have to tell them to fix themselves. Otherwise,
is their name Philip?
I mean, it's neither here nor there.
I do think that it could potentially be a big indicator of whether you say fix yourself or not. As proposed by your rules, anyway. Anyways, yeah, Myles Gaskin, 20 snaps. Duke Johnson, 23 snaps. Philip Lindsay, 19 snaps. It's going to be very hard to find a running back, as long as that snap count stays the same, that you're going to get much value from, regardless of any team. if you're sharing the load like 30%, 33%, 33%, 33%, like it's going to be tough for you to bank on someone to have a big day. Because at this point, you're not only looking for the boom potential,
Right.
which if one of these guys was Alvin Kamara or somebody like really good, you may be able to say, well, at least they have that talent, but you're also looking for the solid floor of a guy who's going to get enough touches to, if he doesn't have a great day, at least get you enough yards that he's going to have like a 10-point day. So,
Right. I mean, I will say they were winning against the Saints last week. They won 20-3 against New Orleans with a healthy Kamara. Not to throw shade or anything at Kamara, but healthy Kamara nonetheless. So I kind of get where like some of the discrepancy is, but like again, I'm with you. Like if you're splitting the share, like literally 33, 33, 33 like that, unless you're Cordell Patterson or like Tony Pollard, you're not really going to be getting an insane productivity level from most anyone else in the league. I mean, Cordell Patterson was able to host their like top 5 weeks with very little touches, like less than like 10 touches a week. And Tony Pollard's a special talent back there who obviously, returns kickoffs for TDs. So is what it is. But I'm with you. I don't think I can start any of my boys this week, Gaskins or Duke Johnson.
agreed. It's unfortunate.
It's a big shame, to be honest.
Another big shame quarterback situation that you talked about earlier. Kirk Cousins is out.
Hey, listen. We won a game before Kirk was there. We're going to win another one without Kirk, okay? Adam Thielen decided to get hurt too. I can't help it. It's what it is. We have Dalvin. We have JJ. We obviously have the late, great Tyler Conklin here. We have the spirit of Adrian Peterson in the building at all times, and Randy Moss, obviously the two greats here. They might still be alive and doing stuff, but like their real football spirit is stuck in the stadium. So, I have all the faith in the world in the team. I never am going to doubt my Minnesota team here. I'm just going to tell, everyone how bad they are. I will doubt Sean Mannion here quite a lot. The fact that the guy has thrown for like 100 yards every game that he played and like 85 interceptions, 18 fumbles, and 0 touchdowns does not help the fact that he's our guy back here. I mean, I can throw better passes than Sean Mannion.
My gosh, I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
I'm a dime thrower, dude. 5-yard slants, 5-yard hitches. I mean, anything more than I'm a Taysom Hill-esque quarterback. Anything longer than 5 yards, I can't throw. But hey, in between the numbers, hash to hash here, best there ever was. I mean, I don't have to be a genius to hand the ball to Dalvin Cook. Don't have to have a good cannon to throw the ball to Dalvin Cook either. Just right there. See, that was quick. So I have all the faith in the world in Dalvin. Losing the faith in Justin Jefferson just because of the quarterback situation that we so, sadly had to have happen to us this late in the season here.
Does it make you feel any better that Sean Mannion is 6'6"? That's pretty tall.
Listen, if height mattered, we'd have NBA players in the NFL, but we don't. We have baseball players.
Well, why wouldn't
Kyler Murray. What?
Why wouldn't they play in the NBA?
Because if height matters, we'd pay them more to like just stand there and throw the football. And then, Kyler Murray's a baseball player, okay? The guy's like 4'3". Russell Wilson, I believe he's 3'2". Height doesn't matter, and these guys are both future and past MVPs of the league. So, height doesn't matter. Sean Mannion could be 7'12" for all I care. It's not my quarterback this week. Go Bears.
Unfortunately, I think he is. But yeah. What's up, Daniel? What three are y'all taking between A.J. Brown, J.J., Deontay, and Cooks? That's an awesome three for the first question. Also, Pollard or Boston Scott. Thanks.
You
No problem.
have a nice team, bud.
Yeah, that is a very good question at wide receiver to have. I'd go A.J. Brown, J.J., and Deontay. They're just studs.
AJ, Deontay. It hurts me because it's a toss up between JJ and Cooks just because I don't know if JJ is going to get the ball thrown to him very well. He's not. It's no fault of his own. It's just the quarterback situation is going to be really tough this week. But definitely AJ and Deontay. It's got to be Cook or JJ, but it's a toss up for me.
I think I'd rather lose because of Justin Jefferson than lose because of Brandon Cooks. That's kind of my logic going into it. Not necessarily trying to sway you, but just trying to explain what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Cooks, number one weapon on this team. They have no one else to throw to.
But we haven't seen in a while, a couple weeks, but we've still seen games from him where it's duds.
Right. I mean, the last four, he has 13.5, 8.4, 18.1, 29.2. The game he had 18 against Seattle, he didn't have a touchdown. So that's just kind of why I'm a little bit higher on him, just because he's with the same quarterback he's been having for a little while now in Davis Mills. So there's a little bit of chemistry there. They're also playing San Francisco, which is pretty susceptible to the pass. I love JJ. He's my, the best wide receiver on my team, if Thielen's healthy or not. So it's tough for me to say it, but I mean, that's just why I'm going with Cooks. If you go with JJ, I can't blame you, but I think there's an argument to be made for Cooks just because of I love me Sexy Rexy. Don't get me wrong. Love Sexy Rexy, but Sexy Rexy's no Dalvin Cook. But Davis Mills is a better quarterback than Sean Mannion. So
I would agree with that. I do think it's close.
I don't know if it is. Sean Mannion's career stats and Davis Mills' career stats are just.
No, I don't mean between the two. I think I was talking about between Justin Jefferson and Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you there.
You did conveniently leave out the last four when the fifth one was a 3.8 performance.
Well, I mean, if we're only going back 3 weeks here, because that's just as far back as I can remember. It's not my fault that I just happened to leave it out. That was against Indiana, right?
I took it off. Tennessee.
So I really shouldn't have included New Jersey, if I'm being honest, because that wasn't when Davis Mills was playing. So that's on me. It should be the last three with Indiana, Seattle, and Jacksonville when Davis Mills was playing, which is 8.4, 18.1, and 29.2. So that's on me. He's 2/3 with Davis Mills. I thought it went back one more week. That's on me.
Yeah, Davis Mills, he has the track record, at least since the bye week anyway. Mm-hmm. What about Pollard or Boston Scott? I have a feeling I know where you're going on this one.
I mean, Tony Pollard. I don't know. Tony Pollard, if you start Boston Scott, at best, you're going to get what? 10 points, maybe?
I disagree with that. I mean, Miles Sanders being out is the primary reason to consider Boston Scott because he's going to be we don't know if he's going to be the starter. That's kind of the issue here is just we've been yelling at Philly for months about having one of the most confusing backfields in football. Mm-hmm. I say you go for Boston Scott if you're looking for upside because he could very well have a 18 carry day, which I don't think Tony Pollard's going to have.
No, he won't.
But if you're looking for consistency, Pollard has consistently given you kind of around that like point of I won't break your team. I won't be
Mhm.
the reason you lose. I'll give you like 7 to 10 points and you'll be a little disappointed, maybe, but you won't
Right.
be devastated, which I think with Boston Scott and the way that we talk about the Philly
Mhm.
backfield, there's always opportunity for just devastation.
Yeah, I mean, so with Miles Sanders out, there's Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, and Kenneth Gainwell in the Philly backfield with Jalen Hurts also running the football too. So that kind of scares me just because Boston Scott's not. I mean, he has the potential to get 10 plus carries, but you have to remember if Zeke goes down or if Zeke lands on someone's ankle funny, which we've seen multiple games this year where he's just left for a quarter or two, all of the responsibility goes to Tony Pollard.
But
That
that's
can't be, but that can't
asking
be.
for an if, where
Well,
with
yeah, but I mean,
Boston
Jordan,
Scott,
yeah, Boston Scott is going to be the starter, but he could also get 33% of the snaps played. And 33% of snaps played for Dallas, I think, is worth more than 33% of the plays for Philly. And also, I think the talent is in favor of Tony Pollard. Boston Scott's a good player, but Tony Pollard is just a magnificent talent. Could be starting for at least half the teams in the NFL. Um, and Zeke hasn't been healthy all year. Like we haven't seen the Zeke of like 3 years ago where Zeke never got hurt. Like this year, every star running back other than Jonathan Taylor has missed time. So I think the upside of Tony Pollard and the potential of him snagging like a couple series of full like workhorse um, sets is more valuable than Boston Scott.
fair enough. I would go back to just what I said, basically. If you're looking for upside,
Mm-hmm.
Boston Scott. If you are looking for safety, I would go Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
My answer there. Let's look at the inactives and actives for the day. If this wants to load,
It
which
doesn't want to load. I asked it. It said it's not going to load today. So
may. Um, if you asked it, then I might not be able to give these results. Lamar Jackson, as we mentioned, inactive. Marquis Brown, who has not practiced all week, is active. What are your kind of thoughts on him? Like, he hasn't practiced all week. We don't really know how it's going to affect him at all. We haven't seen him kind of get boosted up throughout the week or any signs of encouragement.
right. I I'm not super pumped about Marquise Brown. Um, he has been someone who I think has escaped my just anger and rage, which I just so boldly proclaim on to Justin Fields and Mike Williams. And I think since week 9, he has not had a double digit performance.
Lamar's been out.
Lamar has been out, but if you're the star guy, that shouldn't matter. I mean,
Is
we're
he the
on
star guy?
that's what I'm saying. If you are the star guy, Brandon Cooks started the year of a second string quarterback in there of a third string. I believe he played with a fourth string quarterback at one point, maybe even a kicker. I think the head coach suited up for a couple snaps out there too. Brandon Cooks has still been around the same reliability, and people kind of scoff at the idea that Brandon Cooks is up here with Marquise Brown, but Marquise Brown, I don't think he's as good as he was in the beginning of the year. I think he was a first half player, and I missed it. I missed being able to help everyone, including myself, and avoiding this terrible dilemma now of just dropping him for nothing now instead of trading him away to some sap. It's tough. It's tough out here.
Warren, perhaps.
I don't know what Warren is, but
He's a sap.
I don't know science. So
Carson Wentz is active, as we have mentioned, as is Jack Doyle. That second one probably doesn't matter much.
Jack Doyle. I have a huge share of Jack Doyle. It's either him or Mark Andrews for me really this week.
Yep.
So
Make a decision wisely.
yeah.
Darren Waller is inactive on the COVID list. Jacoby Myers is active. Nelson Aguilar is not. So Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers are the lone guys in New England. Going down the list, Jamison Crowder out once again. Braxton Berrios. If you're looking to talk about a guy who won't lose you your week, Braxton Berrios might be that guy.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's weakness is the pass. The past 3 weeks, 8.2, 10.1, 12.5. I mean, those are solid numbers. One touchdown against Miami. But the other weeks, no touchdown, still got you that. He's a touchdown away from getting you like a 15-point week. So Braxton Berrios could be. Braxton Berrios over Marquis Brown. You heard it here first.
Don't get me wrong. You're not going to feel good about starting Braxton Berrios. But in the end, you may be happier than the alternative.
Antonio, he's averaging almost 10 yards a catch. Which is kind of
that's okay.
That's kind of weird. Considering against Miami, he went, 26 yards on one catch. So the math doesn't add up in my head, but it is what it is.
We're not math guys. This is a math show.
It should be. We're gonna change it to a math show, December 31st. So
in the off season, we actually are a math show. That's when we make our swap over.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders, as we mentioned, his hand, it's broken. He is out. Antonio Brown, though, he doesn't have a broken hand. He has a hurt ankle, but that's not keeping him out of the game. He is going to be fine. Mike Evans' hamstring is active. He is going to play. Julio Jones out due to the COVID list.
I think Julio Jones has escaped judgment this year just because of his legacy.
I don't think so. I think that he has been one of the most, if not, I wouldn't say the most, I would say one of the most disappointing fantasy players this year.
He has been.
I think there's just been a lot more disappointing, a lot of disappointments.
Besides week 2, he has been a complete and utter loser of a league week if you started him just because of the name Julio Jones. And you could have started a guy like Hunter Renfrow. I mean, Hunter Renfrow, I don't know who said anything early on in the season about him. But someone might have said something about him earlier on, but people, didn't want to listen. Didn't want to pick up, the double-digit king, as I like to call him. It's tough.
I just think I guess Derrick Henry wasn't disappointing. He just got hurt. But
there's a lot of injuries, yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, there's a lot of first-round guys we talked about. There wasn't really many first-round running backs that didn't get hurt. And then you talk about wide receivers like Allen Robinson, who was taken ahead of him in many circumstances. I just think that there's been other guys that have overshadowed it, but Julio has had as disappointing of a season as anybody.
Right.
Antonio Gibson, who at the start of the season was having a disappointing season, now has kind of turned it around to have some decent weeks. He is out, COVID list. Jarrett Patterson is expected to get a boost in fantasy football. Are you starting Jarrett Patterson in fantasy football?
I'll be honest. Can't tell you what team he plays for.
Well, I would hope that you would know that he plays for Washington, since I said
Antonio
Gibson's out, and that's the reason that he's going to play.
I know. I hope you caught the sarcasm. Not starting the guy. He's not going to. I don't want the Washington running backs. I'm not playing a guy who has a Washington running back this week, so that means they're not going to do good. Antonio Gibson's best week was against me when I needed to win. Didn't, because Antonio Gibson wanted to just be mean to me on my birthday, no less. So, I'm not trusting him. Washington has been able to have some sturdy running back productivity. They have a decent running O-line. I just am not. I'm not buying it. This is going to be the third string guy back here. I'm not buying it.
I got out on Terry McLaurin. Okay, the arms are coming out.
Oh, yeah, it's really hot. We have the heat on, at least one right now.
Can we get a flex at least?
I can't. The sheet will rip. It'll be terrible.
I don't know what the sheet would have to do with it. But what would that have to do with you?
My arms expand so much.
I don't. That way, backwards,
bro. Only train triceps, no buys, just straight tries, and it just expands backwards.
Point them just point.
I can't. I have the cat right here. It's too much.
All right. Well, that's a little bit of a letdown. I'm going to be honest. Much like the Washington offense, just in general, is a bit of a letdown. I think Terry McLaurin is the most talented player on that offense, and
yes,
I had very high hopes for him coming into the season. Mm-hmm. I eventually had to hop off of that train because of just how big of a disappointment this offense has been and how lackluster they have been at moving the ball and getting people involved, or getting people to be productive. So Jarrett Patterson might be involved, but I don't think that he's going to be productive. He had a couple weeks where he ran for 4 yards a carry. It's okay. If you're going to run for 4 yards a carry and catch 3 balls all season, you better score touchdowns. And the Washington offense is probably not the offense I'm going to if I'm looking for a guy who scores touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, the team as a whole has been a disappointment fantasy-wise. Don't know how many of you are Washington fans, so maybe real football-wise too. RIP to the season. Hate to see it. I don't know. I'm not starting anyone from Washington this week. Just is what is. It's playoff time. Not doing it.
Fair enough. If we don't have any questions, that might wrap it up for us today. We will talk a little bit to fill the void until things come in, if things come in, and then sign off. I think the big question looming over everyone's head right now, including maybe you and I, is will we be back next week? I would like to come back next week because we did not really have a full show this week. We had one show. We didn't have our other show that we normally have. Would be cool to come on Tuesday, maybe do a little bit of a way too early first round mock draft for next year.
Right.
And then get you guys ready however you see fit for week 18, if you guys play in week 18. If not, then we can just talk about next year.
I'm with you. Let's give them a nice Tuesday episode.
Yep. A little Tuesday episode. We'll do a start sit as well. And then start sit will be our last show of the year. We've made it almost through a full season, Tony. How do we feel?
I feel really good. We were demonetized pretty early on. I'm not going to say why. Someone might have dropped a couple bombs. Not what YouTube likes to see. So, kind of apologized. It's okay. We forgive him. Hey, we did pretty good. Someone might actually win a league this year because of our help, which is all I need to sleep better at night.
We don't know that. That might not be true.
Well, if you lose, Condo, then it's on you. I can't help it if you're just going to be a loser.
I don't know
Okay,
if
but
I'm
if you're
gonna.
going to win,
I
then
better win. There's one league where I'm in the championship of, and my team is too good to lose.
you know it's tough, Condo. You hate to see the number one guy get knocked off by number 4. You really do. You hate to see it.
I mean, Austin Eckler was on COVID.
Yeah.
The Chargers defense gave me -5, and I
That
lost
that
by
was the
point
issue.
two.
You should have
I think
started
there were a
thinking.
lot of issues with that
I don't
week.
know why you had all this hate for Houston. My love for Brandon Cooks all
I
year.
mean, you also said that you would have started them.
Yeah, I did. I'm just trying to make it fun for the show, Condo. Obviously, San Francisco would have won you the week, but we don't have to go there. I mean, I won't even tell you. I won't even say it that Cordell Patterson would have helped your team because he would have. But could have won, Condo. That's all I gotta say.
I don't know when the opportunity to have Cordell Patterson would have
Cordell
came up.
Patterson for Zeke and Jonathan Taylor would have been a fair argument to make.
Well, I don't think he would help my team in that case.
Well, he would have helped you, Condo. I'm just saying.
I don't know if he would have in that case. What did he score last week? He would have had to score like
last week he did so bad. It wasn't
27. Yeah, okay.
He got 7.8 last week.
Okay.
Unbelievably bad.
So I don't know that he would have helped.
Cordell Patterson still the eighth ranked running back on the year.
Good for him. That must be working out wonderfully for you.
Yeah, I didn't have him all year. Some people kept taking him.
You traded him, I believe.
I think I traded him, and then I traded back for him, and I think I offered him to every single player in the league that we play.
There you go.
I think everyone got.
That's how to treat your star player.
Hey, if you
just let him know he better keep. I'm not saying sarcastically. You got to let him know.
Exactly. You need to
keep this shit up.
If you're ever in the position to own a real team, be a coach for a youth basketball team, youth football team, doesn't matter. What you need to do is make sure your star player knows they are tradable, benchable, and heaven forbid it, quittable.
This goes down to the youth level as well.
Right. I don't care if they're 7 years old, just learning how to walk and talk. Okay.
Don't know. They're replaceable. They're not necessary for team success.
You just gotta sit them.
Yeah. Sit them down. Tell them young. Tell them old. You can tell them whatever. Just tell them. Preferably very strongly. Yeah. That's how you get the best out of your. If you're not yelling, are you really even getting the best out of your team?
Damn it.
That's the question. These are important questions that coaches probably talk a lot about.
Yeah, they definitely do. Some people think coaches are untouchable human beings, but really, if your coach ever
nobody's untouchable. That's
no
the
one's
point.
untouchable. So
scream at everybody.
Yeah. If your coach ever yells at you, what you need to do is go to their house.
No.
Middle of the night.
Okay, stop.
And
I think we're taking it too far.
You need to start screaming at them.
I think joke went too far.
No.
In the middle of the night. Don't go to your coach's house in the middle of the night.
Don't go in your coach's house, I said. Just go to their house and you start laying on the horn. And you Morse code whatever they yelled at you, you Morse code it back to them. Because no one's going to be mad at you for learning Morse code. The cops are going to show up and be like, oh my gosh, you're so smart. You're a genius. And then everyone's going to be like, way to go, you're a hero. So no one's ever going to be mad at you if you honk the horn at.
I think you're banking on a lot of people knowing Morse code.
No, because you just have to explain it to them. Be like, listen, that was Morse code. And they're going to be like, oh, what's that? And you'd be like, listen, it's the dot and hash language. And then they're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna blow their mind.
Sure. Yeah. On that note, I think we're done. Unless we have any other things to say about coaching.
I mean, I can go on a rant for a while. Coaches, authoritative figures. Strive to be them, But at the same time, if you're not them, then belittle their decision making.
Couldn't agree more. On that, we'll add a note on coaching and how to be coached.
This is a life show. Your Wildest Fantasy, it's a life decision show.
Your Wildest Fantasy is being a coach.
Yeah, I mean, if it is, then congratulations, all the power to you. I don't think we've ever said what our Wildest Fantasy is.
Well, I thought yours was being a coach after that.
No, mine would not be a coach. I own all 32 NFL teams.
That you wanted to be a coach, though. You said you should live to be a coach.
Right, other people should, because I need people to work in my organizations. I own all.
That was just a business move.
It was a business move. It was a strategic move to get young, motivated people who already listened to me on the show to now work for me and listen to me again. So it's when the bang bangs situation.
Just capitalism kind of thing, yeah.
Capitalism isn't all that bad.
We don't need to get into capitalism. Just say what your Wildest Fantasy. I think we should save that for the last show, actually.
I think we should. I think we have to.
All right. That's it for us today. Good luck in your week 17 matchups if this is your championship week, or if this is the first week of your 2 championship weeks. Good luck. And we will see you guys on Tuesday next week.
See you on Tuesday.